Okay, so welcome everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for our Coffee and Clouds minicast today on the topic of CRM that makes sense. As with all of our live web events, this session is being recorded for that reason and to prevent unnecessary background noise during the session. We have all the voice lines muted. If at any point in time in the presentation or the demo here today you have any questions, please do so through the chat or even preferably the questions window along the top or right-hand side of your screen. There's some icons. One of them opens up that questions window. That lets us track who's asked the questions and helps make sure that we get them all answered before we wrap up here this afternoon. As our minicast, the session's designed to run for about 20-25 minutes with some additional time for Q&A at the end. So again, we want to thank you for joining us here this afternoon. I also do want to welcome Ken Shin from ProsperWorks, who is joining us for a part of the session here today as we talk about a preferred solution for some of the challenges we see with CRM systems for small and mid-sized organizations. And with that little bit of housekeeping out of the way, because time is of the essence, let's get started here this afternoon. So when we look at customer relationship management for small and mid-sized businesses, we see a number of challenges that SMBs and small, mid-sized nonprofits run into when they look at CRM systems. For businesses of this size, quite often cost comes into play, as does the complexity of the solutions that are out there in the market. Data management is necessary. It may not be as easily automated for a small business as it is for a larger enterprise who might have a programming or development staff for this. And you want that automation in place to really manage the process and manage some of the communications and the steps through the process. And you want to be able to gain insights from the data you have in your CRM system. And a lot of the tools aimed at small and mid-sized businesses end up being glorified contact managers and not really containing, that data management, the automation, and the insights that you want as you move an opportunity through your sales process. And so when we look at costs, the best example I can give is Salesforce. Everyone says, oh, we're going to sign up for Salesforce. It's a CRM solution. Actually, it's not. Salesforce is really just a platform. And because of that, what you get out of the box with Salesforce is probably not what you're going to use. You're going to customize the menus. You have to program the workflow. You have to decide which screens you're going to use. You have to build the settings as far as what stages of an opportunity you want or how you want to manage contacts versus leads versus prospects versus opportunity. And for that reason, deployment costs are awfully, grossly understated or underestimated when people look for that type of a solution. Additionally, the data import and maintenance becomes expensive, particularly if you're using other tools outside of that Salesforce ecosystem. And over on the right-hand side of the screen is sort of a graphic of the Salesforce ecosystem with the different types of apps and different components that come into play. That Salesforce is saying, hey, look, Force.com is a platform, Salesforce is a component. You need other components to build your complete solution. And even if it's not Salesforce, even if it's other tools, we're seeing many of our customers needing third-party applications and services to sync data with other systems, or to manage the workflow, or to be generating proposals, or to be a whole slew of things that come into play, and it all adds to the cost. And those costs often aren't well recognized early on in the process. The second issue we see with CRM systems for small and mid-sized enterprises is the complexity of the systems themselves and the data management. We start out with sort of what does it take to get your data in there and get it formatted and in properly. We're often seeing the need for custom programming as far as workflows or integration with other data systems or purchasing third-party connectors and sync tools to get the data back and forth. And some of this, is necessary stuff. You want a single email system, right? So you don't have to have people checking, for messages inside the CRM system and inside their inbox, right? You want the calendars to be synchronized so that if you schedule something from inside the CRM system, it shows up in your Google or your Office calendar, the same way that if when you look in your inside the CRM system, you look at your calendar, you should see things that were scheduled outside of the CRM system as well. A lot of as people look to customize and work with this, a lot of the tools end up giving you a sandbox environment where you have to build things and test it and validate and move it into production. And that's great because that fits an enterprise model. And certainly one of the strengths about cloud computing is small and mid-sized businesses in general can afford to and take advantage of enterprise computing capabilities. But here we're adding a lot of overhead and a lot of cost and a lot of complexity to build a system which for supporting a process that for most small and mid-sized enterprises, the sales process is pretty straightforward. And it might not be linear, but it's certainly stepwise and can be more easily managed without that complexity. The next challenge comes into automation. Again, a lot of the tools out there with the cost give you a lot of capability for automation of different components, right? And oftentimes, and particularly, in the SMB space, they tend to be very data-centric systems. So you have a contact screen and you have an opportunity screen, and you have this other type of screen as opposed to saying, here's a customer and here's my relationship. I can see my tasks, I can see where I am in the opportunity, I can see historical information. It's easy to log activity and things of that nature. So you want to get away from the data-centric system into a system that really follows and lets you create that effective workflow with the understanding that you still need an approvals process. You need to handle exceptions to the process. You'd want to do this without needing the programming, and having to hire a programmer to maintain that, and you don't want it to be overly complex. So when we look at a solution, we want a tool that gives you automation, but is really drag and drop, no code, sort of build the workflow you want, set up those rules without having to create an overly complex or actually do a software development effort. And finally, I talked about insights, right? And this is really what we see in a lot of the SMB CRM tools. It's very good at producing lists of data, but not necessarily giving reports, right? So you want to be able to see reports and look at where things are in the process of the pipeline. You want reports at a management level, like what does this mean from a projected revenue standpoint? You want to be able to export to spreadsheets, but you shouldn't need to export to spreadsheets in order to do the data analysis that you want to do, right? So your insight should be easily attainable from inside the system, again, without a lot of programming and without needing to build a third-party or buy a third-party application to do it. And what we see is a lot of the CRM tools, many of them, when they aim at the small, mid-sized business market, those versions are, for example, lesser expensive versions of Salesforce, and even, some of the targeted, tools like Zoho CRM or Sugar CRM. You're either lacking the capability to do the reporting and the insights and the other capabilities you need, and then you're exporting data and manipulating it, or you're upgrading your license to a more enterprise class to get that functionality you need. And so we were looking for a solution to avoid that. Now, in our hunt and working with clients, one of the solutions we've come up with, and it's really a preferred solution in our eyes, is a tool called ProsperWorks, because we think that it really does address it. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn over control of the presentation to Ken so that he can really give us a little more information about ProsperWorks and give us a little bit of a demo. And as I hand over control to him, and he starts sharing his screen, what you'll notice about ProsperWorks is, one, the user interface is simple, it's very intuitive. You've got the workflow there and easy to build in. And Ken, are you able to share your screen?
Alan, let me go ahead and let's see here. Can you pass the presenter mode over to me?
I thought I had, so hold on a second. Oh, here we go. Yep. Okay, you should have presenter. Now, I apologize for my technical snafu. But you should have a pop-up now, Ken, to take and make presenter mode. If you can share your screen. Okay, I apologize, everyone. We're having, oh, here we go. Everyone should be able to see Ken's screen at this point.
What was that, Alan?
We're seeing your screen now.
Okay.
It's just, it seems like the system took a little bit longer than normal. So what Ken's going to do is going to give a little bit about ProsperWorks and then head into a demo so you can see how it solves some of the challenges, really most of the challenges that we see with CRM for SMB. So Ken, I hand over the floor to you.
Thanks, Alan. Hey, everybody, nice to meet you. My name is Ken Shin. I'm an account executive here at ProsperWorks. I've been here 1 year. In fact, today, exactly, October 4th, is my 1 year mark here at ProsperWorks. So very excited to speak with you here today. My background in CRM is actually from Salesforce. So just so we're not being biased here, Salesforce is a great product, very robust platform. In fact, I was there for 4 years before joining ProsperWorks last year. Now, as Alan mentioned, companies buy CRMs with great intentions, but sometimes some of those CRMs, such as Salesforce, is too much for a small to mid-sized business. Sometimes it's too expensive, or the cost of maintenance doesn't make sense, and oftentimes it's too bulky. And so the users give up on the system and they begin to use it less and less. And we call that the adoption crisis. 40% of CRM adoptions and implementations fall short because the users stop using it. And ProsperWorks was built to solve that issue. So we do that by creating a really easy to use, really simple user interface and really easy CRM solution. The goal here is to help companies sell more. So to give you a little background on ProsperWorks, we're located here in San Francisco. We have been around for 4 years, and we recently announced our Series C funding for $53 million. So all in total, we have raised over $87 million in funding, most of which is going back into the engineering team to provide a great product for our customers. So as such, we want to be able to help customers in several ways. And from our research, we found that businesses really are in need of 3 things. First of all, they're looking for an organizational information. Secondly, they're looking for a standard process to achieve their business goals. And then thirdly, companies are looking for the ability to derive insight to make better decisions. And we're able to solve that by providing a contact management capabilities that's also integrated into your workflow and automate data entry. Number 2, we're able to help with sales automation, automating the next right step in your sales process. And number 3 is sales intelligence, providing the insights and the reporting like Alan mentioned earlier, so that you can drive consistent and constant improvement. One thing I want to also note is we have a very close relationship with Google. So we are invested in by Google Ventures. We are used by several Google teams internally, and we were Google's Tech Partner of the Year award winner in 2015. I understand a few of you on the demo here today are G Suite and Google users. That's fantastic. Some of you are not. That's not a problem. So I'm going to be demonstrating today using Google and G Suite, but Google is not a prerequisite to use ProsperWorks CRM. So let me go ahead and jump into the actual demonstration here. So I am sitting here in Gmail. The number one thing you'll notice here is that the first thing is we have the CRM sitting right inside your email client. And the purpose of that is so that we can save time by not having to get in and out of the email system. Instead, your CRM is sitting right side by side with Gmail. So, for example, I can see Brian crushing in a 360-degree view who Brian is, his contact information, his email, phone number, address. I can also look at the activity history with Brian, so I can look at all my phone calls, meetings, notes, calendar invites, all the emails back and forth, and not just my own, but also my colleagues. That way, if someone is out sick for the day or on PTO or out of the office, I don't have to give them a call, wait for them to respond to figure out exactly where we stand, but rather I can quickly look into CRM and figure out exactly what went on, what's the next step, what the follow-up and the task needs to be. And let's just say that Brian is really pleased with the service and product that I provided. He refers a net new referral, a new client to me. That'd be Kenneth. What our system does that is unique to ProsperWorks only is we will actually take Kenneth's email signature combined with other online sources to build a profile for you about who Kenneth is. That way you can hit add to ProsperWorks and hit save, and in 2 clicks of a button, Kenneth is now in the CRM. So obviously this eliminates the manual data entry that you'd have to copy and paste people in. It eliminates the possible errors of typing in a phone number wrong into the system. And from our case studies, our customers are telling us that on average, they're saving about 1 extra hour a day from not having to do manual data entry, which is that you can imagine that's 5 hours a week or 20 hours a month per salesperson back, per relationship manager back, per executive back to grow the bottom line of the business. Now, we understand that the email ingestion, the automated process there is great. Some of you are not on Gmail. So there are other ways that you can use ProsperWorks. You can go into ProsperWorks.com and then hit login. So just like online banking, username, password, that's going to take you into the CRM itself. From here, the first thing you'll notice is it feels like Google. It feels like you never left the whole Google ecosystem. And we purposely built ProsperWorks to do that. And they called it the material design concept, and we embraced it so that there's less time to training and a faster time to value for you right there. Again, 360-degree view of who Brian is on the left. In the middle is all of your interactions. So you can log a phone call. You can say, great call with Alan. He loves our product. So I can go ahead and add a note into here. And since many of you have maybe a sales coordinator or someone else that also works with you on those accounts, I can mention someone in the system. Let's work on this deal together. And they're going to get a notification. So instead of having to go through all the emails that you forwarded to them, what you can do instead right here within ProsperWorks is it allows you to, Tiffany, to get a notification. She's going to go right into the system and see all of the notifications and catch up on the deal. From there, you may want to also set up a task. Follow up with Brian on this really cool webinar. So you can say, I want Tiffany to do the follow-up, or you can do the follow-up yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and save the task here and do the follow-up. Not just do we have a G Suite Gmail integration, but it's also a calendar and a Google Drive integration. So if I go into Google Calendar, you'll notice that that task automatically shows up on the calendar as well. So what that means is that nothing's going to fall through the cracks. Now, after you've done that, the next thing that you may want to do is then go ahead and send an email. So to do that, what we're going to do is just go ahead and jump right in here. Our email suite, you can go right into the template that you've stored in ProsperWorks. You notice that the email's personalized. Your email signature is also on the bottom. And we can go ahead and quickly fire off an email out to Brian. And this is going to make it really simple so that you can do all of your relationship management, all of your team collaboration, and all of your email sending from within ProsperWorks. From here, if you wanted to go ahead and get the quote recorded as well, we have a direct integration with Google Drive and Dropbox. It's going to take you right in here. Or you can upload it from your computer as well. A lot of times, our customers want to do email marketing. And there's 2 ways to do that within ProsperWorks. You can do a bulk email send within ProsperWorks, or if you prefer to use ProsperWorks and do like some sort of a really slick newsletter, you can go ahead and we have a direct integration with MailChimp, so you can hit add to MailChimp, and then it will take you right into the campaign. You can drop them into an email campaign list and begin working them right there. And when we get to that point where they return back and say, hey, yes, I'm very interested in your service, love to learn more, this is where you're going to track that inside the sales pipeline. The first thing you'll notice within ProsperWorks is you can have an unlimited number of pipeline. This tends to be a point where your sales reps really enjoy using this because they can go in here. You can customize the pipeline, so we can add to it. We can subtract from it. We can change the name of the stages. We can move it up or down. As you can see, it's very easy to configure the system. Once it is configured, each of these cards represent a deal you're working on. If you click on the deal, it's going to bring up the additional information you need to get insights on the deal. Once you're ready to go ahead and move the deal forward, you just drag it and drop to the next stage, and drag it and drop to the next stage again. And upon winning the deal, you can drop it and put it down into the one stage. Or maybe, unfortunately, we lost the deal, then you can put it into the last bucket, or maybe the abandoned bucket. A lot of times, these deals are going to fall through the cracks in the current system or in a spreadsheet. The way we prevent that is using automated actions, which means you can automate a reminder based on a trigger in the system. For example, a very common practice is every deal that moves into the contract send stage, automate a reminder for me to reach out the next day. Or you can say every deal that moves into the abandon stage, automate a reminder for me to reach back out in 30 days so that I can see if they're all ready for the CRM again. Sales rep.
Okay, we do have a couple of
questions.
This
is one of the places that I go to a lot.
Oh, Ken?
Yeah, let's go ahead and answer some of those.
We have a couple of questions. One, you showed some integration with MailChimp. Do you integrate with other marketing email systems like Constant Contact at this point?
Great question. So our integration with MailChimp is a direct, seamless integration. We do integrate with other tools like a Constant Contact, an Active Campaign, and add-on, act-on through Zapier. So that integration is definitely possible.
Okay. And can the system house things like resumes, cover letters, other types of documents that might come in with an opportunity?
Absolutely. So if we go ahead and jump into an opportunity here, let's go ahead and make it full screen. You can absolutely use ProsperWorks as a place to store your documents. We're going to go to File here. Then you can either choose to add them, directly link those documents in from Google Drive as your file storage unit, or Dropbox, or you can upload them from your computer. There's several options.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Alan. And thanks for the questions, everybody. Yeah, keep them coming. So as I was saying, as a sales rep, what I really enjoy is the ability to see where my deals are in a pipeline stage, and then be able to actually take them from one stage and move them to the next. There's definitely a sense of accomplishment there. However, for my sales ops and the analysts who work on the team over there, they prefer to see a list view of everything. So we have that capability as well. You can actually turn it into more of like an Excel view, if you will. And then what you can do is, as a manager, you can look at these deals and say, well, this is a really big deal. It hasn't been touched since the end of September. So it's been 6 total days and only 2 total interactions. So then you would mention one of your reps to go and follow up on that. Or perhaps this $20,000 deal, it hasn't been touched since March of this year, so over 190 days, and it's only been touched once. So as a manager, that would be a huge red flag for me. I would want to make sure I jump on that and save that opportunity. Speaking from a managerial role, as an executive, I want to know exactly what's going on in the business. So this is one way to look at it, is you can actually look at the sales pipeline for your team. This will show you exactly what deals are in what pipeline and how many those are. You can look at a sales forecast of opportunities that are in the pipeline, so you see how close you're at hitting that magic number. You can look at a historical sales performance of this quarter or of this entire year. So from this screen, for example, you can see if green represents the deals that we've won, then January was a fantastic month, July was a terrible month, and we're back on the rebound in September. Also, you can look at a sales by rep report. So you can see which of your reps have closed the most deals, have the biggest open pipeline, use this as a coaching tool.
Oop. Ken, did we lose you? Okay, it looks like Ken's having, apologize, we're having a little bit of trouble with the audio on the presentation. Okay, so I'm going to pull the control over back to me. I think it looks like we're having a little trouble with our GoToWebinar system today, and I apologize about that. As Ken was saying to the demo, we do have a couple of more questions regarding customization. And one of the questions, are the reports customizable? And yes, there is an ability to customize the report, set up your own filters, and modify the reports. There's also a tool that lets you do some report creation natively. So if you have specific report needs or you want to make sure it has reports, what our suggestion would be to set up a one-to-one demo where we can get into detail more about your specific needs. And the other thing we want to do is we want to extend an offer here this afternoon. And sort of, instead of just going into our normal next steps, which is think about this as a solution, we've got a couple of offers. One, if you have specific questions about whether or not ProsperWorks could work for your organization, we'd be happy to arrange a session, get Ken or someone else from ProsperWorks on the line in detail as well, and go through a demo and explore those specific questions for you, and see how it fits and really map out what a deployment in what your utilization would look like. The other thing we want to do is, it's been suggested that we offer a free trial, but we really don't like doing that. The reason being is oftentimes when someone comes to us and says, hey, I want a trial, we give them a week or 2-week trial with the vendor, and they get busy and they don't have time to sit and play with the system. So what we'd rather do is just give you basically a month free. So if it's something you think you're interested in and you really want to kick the tires and see how it works, rather than having 1 or 2 people play around with it, let's set it up and deploy it for your organization, import some data and some contacts, and set up your, set up a pipeline. And we'll give you 13 months for the price of 12. So that first month is free. We want you to actively, not just try it, we want you to actively use the system, see how you like it. If during that first month you decide it's not for you and you don't want to continue, you can cancel and walk away. No charges for the setup, no charges for the licenses. We cancel your account, and we're at that point, we're happy to help you find a different solution, a better solution. But we really think that this offer is going to be great because it'll give you a chance to actually work with the system in its entirety. No restriction on functions, no restrictions on capability, and have you go in. So Ken, are you back on with the audio now?
Yeah, we're here, Alan. Where did we cut out?
You cut out a little bit in the reporting. And that's okay because we're coming up against the half-hour mark as it is. So we've got a couple of final questions. One was around the capability for report customization, and
yeah.
Other things like could you if one of the pipeline examples you actually showed was a recruiting pipeline. is there the ability to do some automation, some automatic parsing when, a resume is, a document is sent in like a resume?
Yeah, so let me go ahead and answer those. Sorry, everybody, for cutting out earlier. I guess our internet dropped a little bit. So we have these reports that are pre-built out of the box within ProsperWorks. However, our customers can also create their own custom reports through our Google Sheets integration. And for some of you who know about Google Sheets, you understand how robust it can be. So what you can do is actually take the data that is stored within ProsperWorks and push it into Google Sheets and create custom reports that way. So that'd be the answer to number one. Number two is, yeah, you can actually do some resume parsing. There are some tools by Zapier that's available, allowing you to take some of that information and push it into ProsperWorks. In fact, those are a couple ways. Alan, if I may, could I finish up on the very last couple of things that our internet dropped out on?
Sure. I'm handing the presentation over back to you.
Great. Thank you. Okay, great. So everybody should be able to see my screen now. Apologize again for dropping out earlier, but where I feel like we left off was talking about how marketing teams can use ProsperWorks as well. So they're able to do that by being able to look at where the highest quality leads are coming from, where the revenue is coming from, and then helping them decide, do we want to spend more on the marketing dollars on a campaign, or do we want to pull back a certain way? The other thing that we're able to do is we create a loss reason report so that customers can really figure out where they're losing deals, why, and prevent that from happening. From a user perspective, I want to be able to see our user by user report. So that'll allow us to figure out where things, how many phone calls am I making, how many meetings am I setting, and then from a team management standpoint, you can see that as well, along with our email open tracking report. So you can see who sent you the email, who has opened it, how many times, how often. As a recap, as you can see with ProsperWorks, it's a very simple CRM solution that sales teams find to be really useful and managers find to be helpful. A lot of times with our customers, they'll use ProsperWorks as a centralized system of engagement. And then around ProsperWorks, they will build third-party integrations like MailChimp for email marketing, QuickBooks Online for accounting, Google Drive or Dropbox for file storage, RingCentral for voice over IP, and Slack for company communication. So as you can see, ProsperWorks is just one aspect from the CRM. We have all these other direct and indirect integrations. Thanks, Alan.
Okay, great. And thank you for the presentation. Again, we apologize for that little bit of glitch with our webinar system here. So at this point, we've gone a little bit beyond our target 30-minute mark, so I want to thank people for staying with us. If you like what you saw, if you have additional questions or you'd like additional information, again, our next steps would be to schedule a demo or call one-on-one, get into the specifics of your needs, and determine if this is the right fit for you. If you think it might be, we'll set you up. We'll sign you up for the service, get you loaded and set up, configured and running. We'll do 13 months for the price of 12. And again, if any time during that first 30-day window you're not happy or you don't think it's going to be the right tool, you let us know. We shut it down. You walk away with no obligation whatsoever. And so you can get more information by contacting us here at info@cumulusglobal.com, or you can contact me directly. That's my email, and well, you have our general toll-free number up on the screen. That 508 number is direct to my desk. I will tell you that sending me an email is better than leaving me a voice message. I'm much better at responding to those emails than I am the voicemail messages. I will loop in one of our cloud advisors. We'll loop in Ken and others from ProsperWorks as needed. We'll answer your questions, and if it looks like it's the right solution, we'll let you kick the tires for a full month without any sort of obligation. So I want to thank Ken for joining us here today. Appreciate the information in the demo. I want to thank everyone for taking time out of your busy day, busy week. You will get a link to the recording of this presentation. Feel free to review it or to share it with folks who you think might find the information and the content valuable. So thanks for joining us today, and have a great day, everyone.